Hi guys, how are you? Guys and dolls, how are you? Okay, so today we're going to talk about some additional information about narcissist. Narcissist, you get the word out, narcissist. Okay, bear with me. A little bit, a little bit. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Alright, so today we're going to talk about narcs and some of the stunts that they pull that you need to be aware of. One of them, this particular topic, I don't feel it's talked about that much on YouTube, and it needs to be talked about a little bit more, okay? One of the people who talked about this, which prompted me to do this video, her name is Melanie, and Melanie talks about narcissists, okay? She's well versed on narcissists, like, unfortunately, a lot of us are. Not by choice, okay? Not by choice. If you put in her name, Melanie, and put in narcissist, you will see her videos. She's got an accent. I'm not sure where she's from exactly, but she's got a little bit of an accent going on. And she, like I said, she's well versed on narcissist. So I hope you don't mind me mentioning you, Melanie. But anyway, one of the things that she talked about was emotional blackmail. And that's something you're going to have to deal with them. And that's a huge red flag, like so many red flags that they, show, right? Emotional blackmail is when, watch what you say, watch what you do, everything you say or do will be used against you at a later time. Let me repeat that. Anything you do and say will be used against you at a later time. Okay? Which, obviously, if the person was mentally stable, which they're not, right? But if they were, when you truly care about someone, you would never do that. They should feel emotionally safe with you, and they should be able to freely express themselves without have to worry about, I got to tiptoe on eggshells, I got to watch what I say because you're going to bring that up later. It's not me. They will bring it up later. People who are mentally unstable and or narcissists will definitely shove it in your face later. And I mentioned that. I think I mentioned it in another video, but if not, okay. So a lot of them have the mindset of a child. They act like a baby. When they don't get their way, they have they have fits, or they have narcissistic rage attacks or whatever. And normal adults do not conduct themselves in that manner, okay? And I mentioned this before, they don't have any common sense at all. Common sense is a foreign concept to them. But I did mention this in another video. They are manipulative enough to use what you say as a weapon to beat you over the head with later, especially when you confront them about their idiotic and irrational behavior. They will put everything you say in a mental Rolodex, and they will bring it up as soon as you start to condemn them, or you start to talk about things that they do that are out of line, or things that they would say that are out of line. Here comes war. And whatever you said, even though they're pretty dumb, let's just keep it real, they're not smart, but they know how to manipulate you for what you said. Don't be telling me what to do. Remember when you said you did such and such? They may ask you about, tell me about the dynamics in your family. How do you get along with your brother? How do you get along with your sister? Has anybody in your family ever made you angry? And what happened? What caused that? Watch what you say. Watch what you say. Because they're going to use that. I promise you. I promise you. They will use that at a later time. They may not use it right now. They may not use it a week from now or 2 weeks from now, but you better believe they will bring it up at some point. So watch what you say. Watch what you talk about in regards to your family dynamics, because They may wait until there's a family get together, and then they'll say, didn't you have a issue with your sister before? And your sister's sitting right there. They cannot be trusted. Okay? They cannot be trusted. So this is what you do to test the waters. Ready? Okay. What you do is you bring up something in confidence that it's okay if it gets out, and see what they do with that information. That's right. Bring up something that's not a big deal, but act like you're saying it in confidence. Like, you know, I remember when I borrowed my sister's diamond earrings and she didn't know about it. So, shh, don't say nothing. Use that to test the waters. Because they want to play mind games, well, we can play mind games too. And we have to learn how to play mind games back with them before you get rid of them for good. Play their game right back to them and see what happens. Tell them something in confidence. Watch what happens. All right. Never underestimate the razzle-dazzle that they are capable of. And what I mean by that, we talked about smoke and mirrors. We talked about razzle-dazzle, okay? Do not underestimate the razzle-dazzle. What I mean by that is the acting that they are capable of in order to snow you over. They could win an Academy Award for Best Actor or Best Actress. The BS that they're capable of. I'm so nice. I'm so good. I'm a high quality person. I care about everyone. I don't think I've ever gotten angry. I honestly, let me think. I can't remember, I can't remember a time that I got angry. I just don't do that. That's just not who I am. Watch your back. Watch your back. Not only are they capable of getting angry, and they will. The Mother Teresa personality that they're showing you in the beginning, watch closely, okay? Or if it's a guy, I don't know, I can't think of, I'm holier than thou personality. I feed the homeless and I take in stray animals, and I once rescued someone from a fire and I ran away so the media wouldn't catch me because I'm just a good person and I don't need to advertise that I'm a good person. And it's all crap. And it's all lies. Watch the razzle dazzle. Watch it closely. The acting. I mean, I'm for real. The acting and the phoniness are just unbelievable. Unbelievable. But that's how they are, because they're trying to reel you in. They have the fishing rod in the water and they're trying to reel you in. Reel you in, baby. Reel you right in. And then once they think that you love them, all hell's going to break loose. Now you're going to see the truth. Now you're going to see the rages. Or if you address them on something that they did that was way out of line, now we're going to counterattack or have a spaz attack that's 1,000% irrational. And you're sitting there like, oh my. I mean, you're going to be floored, stunned, speechless. You will see a personality change. Let me repeat that. You will see a drastic personality change from that I'm so wonderful and I'm so kind and I'm so warm and I'm so loving. Blah, 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 blah. You will see a personality change, and by God, brace yourself because it's coming. Brace yourself. Now, one of the things that you can do, because it's high time we fought them back, one of the things that you can do is, because all the people that know them don't know that they're capable of being a monster. They don't know that, because the phony BS And the fake personality that they have in public, I'm so nice. Would I like a beer? Sure, I like a beer. Oh, it's so great to see you guys again. Yeah, I know, right? We always have a good time when we're together. And all of that is BS. And they don't know. Their associates, people who know them, do not know that they're capable of turning into Satan. They don't know that. If there's any way that you can record them, I would do it. If there's any way that you can record them. Because the smear campaign, when it's over, that's the next thing to happen, where they talk about, yeah, you remember so-and-so? Yeah, that person's whack. I mean, really, I was dating so-and-so, and, we broke up because, I mean, he or she is just irrational. I mean, really, seriously, they're irrational. I don't know where these mood swings came from. I was just really surprised. I think that he or she needs to be on medication. That's another thing I want to bring up. Oh, yes, we're going to freaking go there. If you want to know what is wrong with them psychologically, they'll tell you. You know how they tell you? They tell you because they say things like, I think you've got a personality disorder. I really do. I really do. I think that you need to be on medication. You're ungrateful. You're unappreciative. They just told you three things. They just told you that they are ungrateful and that they are unappreciative. And they just admitted to you through accusations. They just admitted to you that they're unbalanced. What? They will tell you what is wrong with them. It doesn't come out in the form of a confession, but it comes out in the form of accusations directed at you. So they'll tell you what their problem is. They'll announce it, but it will come in the form of projection and lies. Okay? So they'll tell you anything that they accuse you of, chances are that's exactly what they are. And they're telling you, they're admitting it in the form of accusations. You're a brat. You have mood swings all over the place. I don't know what's wrong with you. You're never appreciative of anything. Your moods are all over the map. You're unpredictable. They just told you what their personality is. Listen closely and take notes. And if there's any way that you could secretly record them, I would do it. So that when the smear campaign, before the smear campaign even starts, when you guys are over, you can tell their friends, oh, really? Look at this. Does that look like your buddy? I bet it doesn't. You've never seen that personality, huh? It's high time we let people know who these demonic monsters really are. Because, like I said, the phoniness is unlimited when they're around other people, their family, because they need their family. Now, overt narcissists may not be phony around their family. They may be just cocky and arrogant in front of everybody. But a covert narc, they're very, very careful about who they reveal what to. Very careful. Very sneaky and very careful. Because they don't want to risk losing their family because their partner will leave them. It's inevitable. If that person has any self-respect, they will get tired of the merry-go-round and they will leave. So partners are dispensable. They don't want to lose their family because when their partner inevitably leaves them with their behavior will cause the partner to leave. They don't want to lose their family too, so they're going to kiss their butt. I love you. I love you. I mean, they need to go to Hollywood, for real. If you're going to be that phony, why don't you just get a Hollywood role and you can get paid to be phony because they're very good at it. Very good at being phony. But they always reveal who they are. It's inevitable. Just sit back and have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and you'll see. Trust me, you'll see. All right. Weird body quirks. Are you ready? You sure you're ready? Okay. Not all mentally unstable people do this, and not all narcs do it, but some do. And I've witnessed it. And I'm here to tell you, it's weird as hell when it happens. And you're going to be sitting there like, what just happened? Outside of the rage attacks, you're going to be wondering what happened. One of the people I know who's a schizophrenic, government's after everybody. They're spying on all of us right now. They're listening in on this video. Anyway, schizophrenic big time. And one day he was charging after me because he was stalking me, okay? He charged after me, and he came out of the building towards me, and this is what his head was doing. When he was walking, he was swaying his head from side to side to side to side. Who does that? Who does that? Nobody normal. Nobody normal does that. It was the weirdest thing ever. I'm just like, what am I looking at? It was really weird. I'm here to tell you, it was real weird. Another narcissist who, by the way, when I accuse this person of being a narcissist, because the selfishness is just unbelievable, and the hatred and resentment towards women is indescribable, okay? This person was stomping down the street, and I mentioned the temper tantrum in another video. Stomping his feet like a child, because they're children. Remember me telling you that? They're children. And at one point, he was flapping his hands like this while he walked. Who does the doggy paddle while they're walking? Who does that? It's not normal. It's not freaking normal. But at one point, now he doesn't do it all the time. But when he did do it, I was just like, okay, that's bizarre. So their brain is twisted. You know, I've said this before, where their brain is like this. They have a twisted mentality, twisted logic, mood swings all over the map. You can spout logic to them 24/7, and it bounces off their brain because it doesn't sink in. They're not wired normal. They've got some extensive brain damage. They're not normal, and that cannot be fixed through medication, okay? When you're done, you're done. I mean, like, wow, you know, bear with me. So, bear with me, guys. I'm sorry. You know, who does that? Who freaking doggy paddles? Like I said, who doggy paddles? That tells you that there's something wrong with their brain. Because, let me put this on Do Not Disturb. Sorry, guys. Nobody does that. Nobody normal with normal neurology in their head, nobody walks like this. You know, so you imagine they're walking to the side and they're doing their hands like that as they walk. Nobody normal does that. All right, what else? And not all of them, like I said, not all of them do that. Okay, without realizing it, you begin to change who you are. You become very quiet to avoid conflict, for example. So these individuals have to have conflict in order to breathe. They have to have it. They need negativity. They need accusations. They need gaslighting. They need name calling. They need to have their rages. They cannot, you know what? I cannot emphasize this enough to you guys. They cannot have a normal life. They cannot handle joy. They cannot handle love. They cannot handle kindness. They can't take that because they didn't grow up with it. 9 times out of 10, they didn't grow up with that. And even if they grew up in what appears to be a normal childhood, you'll be surprised what passive aggressiveness was done to them, what manipulation was done to them, what negativity was shoved in their face, that it appears, for all intents and purposes, it seems like they had a great family life, when in reality there's things going on behind the scenes that only the people in the family know about. Externals are not going to know. People outside the family are not going to know. But the people in the middle, in the midst of it, are going to know because it's directed at them. The hate is directed at them. So, we need oxygen to breathe. Normals need oxygen to breathe. People who are mentally ill have to have chaos. They're the kings and queens of chaos. They cannot, do you understand what I'm saying? They cannot handle positivity. They cannot handle love. They cannot handle kindness. You cannot love them hard enough that one day they'll be healed. They'll be cured and they'll be normal now. It doesn't work like that, baby. It doesn't work like that. So you have to you got to quit trying. Don't be more loving and more considerate. And I'm just going to overwhelm you with love because I know one day that's going to make you all better. It doesn't work like that. Their brain is damaged. Their brain is damaged. Their thought process is skewed. Their pathological lying, which they believe their lies more often than not. They believe the BS that comes out of their face. Some of the things that they accuse you of have zero basis. But in their fantasy world, in their head, it happened. Explain yourself. Well, how can you explain yourself based on something that didn't happen in real life? It only happened in their twisted brain. See what I'm saying? Maybe we need to go back to, I know some people have done it. I don't know if it would help, to be quite honest with you. I don't know if it would help, but convulsive shock therapy. I don't know if that will help with people who are narcissists. I really don't. I wish to God the main part of their brain that causes them to be a demonic individual, I wish they could somehow deactivate that part of their brain so they could be halfway normal. Just halfway. I don't know if that would help. I don't know. I'm not a neurologist. But I wish to God something could be done because dysfunction is becoming the norm. And being kind and considerate and warm and loving is becoming abnormal. Abnormal. You know, people say all the time, well, what's normal? Okay, let me tell you what's normal. What's normal is how we used to be back in the day. What's normal is you have respect for someone. Oh my God, what? Yeah, the old school mentality. You have respect for someone. You're kind to them. You do what you say you're going to do. You know how many people lie their ass off and they don't do what they say they're going to do, but they make all these promises, but they can't deliver anything. It used to be that your word was your bond. Remember that? Back in the day, maybe the 1800s. I don't know. Your word was your bond. What you said is how you felt. And you know, even on a small scale, if you say, let's do lunch Thursday at 12, you did lunch. You know? But nowadays, people will say anything, and they have not only do they have no desire to do what they say they're going to do, but they have no conscience about it. So the pain that it causes someone, what's that got to do with them? Yeah, I said I would do this, and I said I would do that. I'm not doing any of it. And if it hurts your feelings or you feel sad or brokenhearted, I don't care. Anyway, what am I going to have for dinner? I mean, it's that casual. And when you look at adults nowadays, so-called adults, mentally ill people or oversized children, but when you look at them, you can tell who wasn't raised right. You could tell when somebody's parent or parents was dysfunctional because you see it in the adult child. And you're like, wow, really? I'm going to say something else too. I'm going to go there because I don't care. And for those of us that are on the receiving end of these choices, it's a bad deal. One of the individuals the doggy paddler, there's a Super Lee, I made up a new word, Super Lee, okay, super, quit laughing, it's not funny. There's a very weird dynamics going on with that person's childhood, which you shouldn't be surprised, look at how he turned out. His father slept around when he was married to his mom. I mean, he slept with everything. It don't matter. Been caught doing it. Broad daylight. She's servicing him in the car, if you know what I mean. All kinds of despicable, disrespectful, hateful things that were happening. And because this person's behavior is indicative of narcissistic behavior, you shouldn't be surprised that at least one of the kids is a narc. Okay? Ladies, gentlemen, for the love of God and everything holy, if you don't hear nothing else I say, hear this. Stop being in a rush to have children. Let me repeat that. Stop being in a rush to have children. Do you know how many people got married to or had kids with the worst person ever, but they were desperate to reproduce? So if you have children with the wrong person, someone who is toxic, someone who's dysfunctional, someone who is severely mentally gone, and that's the atmosphere in which you raise your child or your children, what do you think your children's future looks like? Think about that. What do you think your children's future looks like if you raise them around someone who's poisonous? Chances are they will be poisonous too. And the rest of us get to deal with it. And people don't think about that. They just snatch their clothes off and get pregnant. Or get someone else pregnant. And they're not looking at the person that you're having children with. Are they normal? Are you normal? If there's any abnormalities in there on either side, that can be directed at those children and will be directed at those children. So there's a strong possibility they will be sick. And the rest of society has to deal with them because the psych hospitals don't even bother keeping them. Here's a pill. That should make you magically better. Now, bye. Go down the road. Bye. There's a tremendous amount of sick people walking around in the world, and they are poisoning everyone around them. So what you do in the dark comes to light. And you had children with the wrong person. And in the case of marriage, who told you you have to keep reproducing? Who told you that? Do you honestly think the police are going to come and knock on your door and put you in jail for the rest of your life because you didn't have children right away? Slow your roll. because the rest of us are paying a price. Before you marry this person, forget about having children with them. Before you get with them. And I'm angry. You know why? Because all of us paid a price. We pay the price because people are sick in their freaking head because nobody was selective about who they spread them with or who they knocked up. All of us are paying a price. Okay? And that's not fair to us. We try to be good people. We have to be on the receiving end of toxicity because of choices that someone else made, their parents made. I don't care how beautiful somebody is. I don't care how handsome they are. Are they straight up here? Are you straight up here? These are decisions, these are thoughts that have to take place before you make the decision to have children. I don't know if it's ego-based. People have to have kids to feed their ego. Those are my kids. You better think. People have lost their life because they were dysfunctional. And the cops told them to do a certain thing and they refused to do it because their brain is not all there. And they got shot and killed. Was it worth it? Because you had to have, you just had to have bragging rights. I got kids. Really? People spend more time shopping for a house or a car than they do in making the permanent decision to have children with the wrong person. We are going to pay the price. Good people who are empathetic, good people who are compassionate, good people who are not pathological liars. We are the ones who pay the price because of decisions you made. Now, for people who rectified the situation, thank God for you. For those who had children with a poisonous person, and God knows that's happened a lot, right? Because you didn't know that person was poisonous until after you had kids with them. And there were probably red flags. Let's just keep it real. There were red flags. And we have a tendency to make excuses for red flags, which is not good. But there's people who have married the wrong individual and had kids with them. That marriage broke up, thank God. And the mother put those children in therapy. Thank God. Thank God. She's teaching those children. I know what you saw growing up, but I'm here to tell you that's not the healthy way to do it. And this is the healthy way to do it. We're going to go to therapy. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to try to ease the agony, the mental agony, and the mental anguish of what you had to face. Thank God for parents like that, because it may be too late. You've already had people with this person. But if they're young enough, you can undo the damage before they become a sick, twisted, poisonous, toxic person. Be careful about the choices you're making, especially if they're permanent choices, meaning having children. But as I said, my hat goes off to people who are taking responsibility for their children's mental health so that those kids do not contribute to the already huge amount of dysfunctional behavior in our society. And narcissism is running rampant, like the bubonic plague. It's running rampant. It says it in the Bible. It says that people will be disrespectful to their parents. They will not honor their mother and father. They will be lovers of selves. You better believe it. It's happening everywhere you look. Where and when does it stop? Where and when does it stop? It's just, it's got to stop. Let me tell you a little secret. You ready? I personally chose to never have children. And let me tell you why. Okay? The reason I chose to never have children is because I was not going to be a statistic. I was not going to allow somebody to get me pregnant and then run away. I wasn't going to give nobody the power. You're damn right. They weren't going to have the power. You do what you want to do to me. You don't do it to my kid, because I will come after you. And yes, I've been severely protective of children that I was responsible for. Severely protective, like a mother bear with her cubs. Because I never had that protection growing up. Nobody was ever on my side. My grandmother from Trinidad visited us once from the West Indies to the United States. It would have been nice to be raised by her, or be raised by my grandparents on the other side, because the things I grew up with were 1000% unnecessary. And as you know from watching other videos pertaining to child abuse, they never should have met the parents, quotation marks. They never should have met, much less got married and had kids. That never should have happened. Never should have happened. But people are irresponsible and egotistical. So, based on those two things, they have to have kids or they're going to just die. If you get with the wrong person, you can fix that. You have a child from the wrong person, how you going to fix that? How you going to fix it? Unless you are one of the responsible parents and you do everything you can to prevent your child from becoming another twisted adult. And like I said, I commend those of you who have taken responsibility that way. You know, I'm truly grateful for you. I really am. And I've watched some videos where women were married and had kids from the wrong monster. And they did do what was necessary to get help for their children so that they can grow up halfway decent. It's your responsibility to make sure your kids are halfway normal adults. Don't have kids for bragging rights. There's responsibility that goes with that. What? There's responsibility. You don't just get horny and get pregnant. There's responsibilities with that. And I know I heard this crap growing up. I put a roof over your head and food in your stomach. Dumbass, that was your responsibility. That was your responsibility. You didn't do nothing special, dummy. When you got somebody pregnant, you were supposed to, there's responsibilities. By law, there's responsibilities that go with that. If you don't want the responsibility, put a condom on, or get a vasectomy, or throw a pill in your mouth if you're a woman. The scars that I have, and yes, I have videos talking about the abuse that I've been through. Graphic details about abuse. Does it always hurt? You bet. Do I feel it the most during a holiday time? You bet. I didn't ask to be here. I didn't ask to be conceived. And they think that they get bragging rights because they put a roof over my head. You dumbass, you were supposed to. That's like when you go to your job, you act like you're going to have an attitude with your boss. You're lucky I did my job today. Your boss will be like, I'll tell you what. You don't have to do it no more. Clean out your desk, get out. Now what you going to do with your cocky self? You're going to be looking for another job. That's what you're going to do. Don't act like you're doing somebody a favor when you're doing what the hell you're supposed to be doing. I mean, wow. Wow. People just kill me. They do. They kill me. Go to work tomorrow with that attitude. See how far it gets you. Wait, hold it. Let me get my popcorn because this is going to be fun. This is going to be interesting. People kill me. They absolutely slay me. They do. They just... wow. I'm going to tell you another secret. And I do believe I mentioned it in another video. Have an open mind when you hear me say this, okay? Have an open mind. I mentioned it, like I said, I mentioned it in another video. I had twin sisters. And they died. When I asked her, the mother, when I asked her about my own sisters, my flesh and blood, you remember she's twisted too, right? So don't expect a logical response. Don't. That person would have to be normal for you to get a logical response. When I asked about those girls, my sisters, I was told that was none of my business. I beg your pardon. Those are my sisters. That's my flesh and blood. How dare you? Anyway, some people are going to go to hell, and I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Be cocky when you're in the pits of hell. I'd like to see you be cocky then. Hell's going to be an instant attitude adjuster. I'm just saying. This is where I need you to have an open mind. I'm relieved that my sisters didn't make it. You know why? Let me tell you why. Because females in the family are hated. She, the mother, she hated anyone who's a female. She didn't want female kids. She only wanted male, which is really twisted in and of itself because you cannot order the gender of the child. Hello! So that's a form of self-hatred. If you are a woman, I can't talk today. If you're a woman and you have female children and you hate them, you also hate yourself because you are female. Dummy. But mental illness goes right along with stupidity, goes right along with narcissism. It all ties in together. The reason I'm relieved that they didn't make it is because they would have been hated, they would have been beaten, they would have been abused, they would have been knocked into walls, they would have gone to school with a black eye like I did. They didn't deserve that. So yes, I'm relieved that they didn't make it. And I know that might sound horrible, but if you think about the hell that they would have been through, that would not have been fair to them. They didn't ask to be conceived. They didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to be hated. So it's better that they're angels in heaven instead of being on this earth and 2 more people going through the nightmare, which would have been what I had to go through, being the wrong gender. And Tom is the king of the narcissist. The only thing he cares about is himself. You're the one that gets pregnant. If I get you pregnant, that's your problem. Deal with it. Did he say that? No. Did his behavior make it crystal clear? You bet. You bet. You get pregnant, you deal with it. It's not my problem. And if you have a kid, I'm going to hate them. Because all they're doing, they're a ball and chain tugging on my wallet. That's how he perceived us. A family member said to him, when the so-called parents broke up, my relative, I'm not going to say who the person is, they said, well, what about the kids? Do you really want to know what his response was? Do you really want to know? Because I'll tell you. His response was, F them. You heard what I said? F them. Because he never wanted us in the first place. He wasn't going to prevent us from happening, but he didn't want to deal with us because we're putting a damper on his slut fest. And yes, he will always sleep with other women until the day he dies, which couldn't be soon enough for me. Sad part is, when you're a little girl, I talked about this with somebody the other day. When you're a little girl and you don't know that your father is a nightmare, you think the world of him. Anywhere he went, I wanted to be. And I remember saying to him, well, where you going? And he's like, I'm going crazy. Want to come? I'm like, yeah. His feet didn't touch the ground in my eyes. And then you wake up from that fantasy and you realize that he's equivalent to the devil. And so is she. So, I'm glad those girls didn't make it. I'm relieved. Would I have loved to have met them? Yes. But that's not about me. And it's not about my selfish needs. It's about what would be the best thing for them. If they hadn't been conceived, that would be even better because no baby needs to lose their life, right? But it happens, right? Wow. So I'm going to wrap this up. Please be careful who you have kids with. Please be careful. And if that person doesn't reveal who and what they are until you have children, which is very typical, right? People are manipulative and sneaky and backstabbing and misrepresenting all of who they are more often than not. Then you get rid of that poisonous other parent and take responsibility for those children so that they're not twisted, because we got enough twisted people running around. Okay? Think long and hard before you make children. Think long and hard. Please. It's a permanent decision that you're making. Don't make it lightly. Okay? Subscribers, I love you. You know I do. And those of you who are not subscribed, I love you too, but you can press the button and join the family. How about that? What? What? You heard me. Join the family. I love you guys. Take care of yourself. God bless. Take care.